Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to my page, Fearfully and Wonderfully Made. I am Mia and today I'm going to be doing a giveaway. I did hit 100 subscribers, so just to say thank you, make sure to watch to the end in order to see how you can enter into the giveaway. But first, I will be quickly going through 20 facts about me. I don't want to get super in-depth with everyone because this could be the longest video in the world. But if you guys have any questions about anything or if you want me to do other videos, be sure to drop down in the comments below. Let me know what you guys are curious about, what you guys want me to do, another video on. If you hop over to my Instagram, I will be doing a Q&A video. So if there's anything from this video that you want to know a little bit more about, just hop over there and let me know. So going into it, I am born and raised in South Jersey. I did live in Virginia for a few months, but that was when I was in elementary school, and then we immediately came back and I'm still living in South Jersey. So born and raised in South Jersey. I have over 20 siblings. So from my mom, I do have 2 full siblings, which for me is the same mom and the same dad. And then I have 1 half sibling, so we have the same mom. And then I have 2 step siblings. Now, all of the other children are half siblings from my father. How many children he has, I don't know. You would have to ask him. I was a competitive dancer in my youth. Now, a lot of people don't know that about me, but it is something that I used to do and that I loved very much. And as far as my ethnicity, I do get asked this all the time. My dad is Black. Now, my mother is white and Puerto Rican. So my great-grandma is fully white. My great-grandpa, 100% Puerto Rican. So my grandma, 50-50. Now my grandpa, 100% Puerto Rican, again, from the island. So my mom is mostly Puerto Rican and a little bit white. So I am Black, white, and Puerto Rican. Moving on, I did graduate number 6 in my high school class. Now, high school for me was rough. So for me, that was a huge accomplishment. Originally, I had wanted to be like valedictorian, something like that. But I did spend a bunch of time in high school living with friends, living with family, staying with like my boyfriend at the time, spending a few nights in my truck. That was just a really rough time for me. So by the end of high school, I was like, I literally don't even care how I rank in high school. But I did graduate as the 6th person in our entire class, which was like over 400. I don't know how many specifically. On that note, I did get into my first car accident at 15 years old. Why I was driving, why I was living alone, how I got a car. Those are all good questions for another day. But with that being said, that is what led me into getting my farmer's license. So I, after that point, was legally able to drive-ish. Moving on, my first job was at Wawa. My school did like a program with the Jersey Shore Wawas, but again, because I had a truck and I had a license, I would use that to drive to work so I could work a lot more than the other students. Now at that point, my goals were making money, saving money, and school. That really was my main focus. So I started working for my local municipality at 16. I started part-time and I was working as the assistant to the CFO, but I did spend a lot of time in payroll and HR. So eventually when I got promoted, that is the position that I took over. I started working in payroll and HR. But that is the next fact, which is that because I took early exit and early release as a senior, I was able to be hired full-time in April, which was before I technically like walked for graduation. So I had early exit, which means at my high school, we had 2 different semesters, like college. So early exit meant you didn't do the second semester because you had enough credits and whatnot to graduate. And then I also did early release, which meant instead of having 4 classes in a semester, I only had 3. So for the first semester, I had 3 classes, was still working part-time at the city, part-time at Wawa, and going to high school. And then when I graduated that April, before I walked in June, I got promoted full-time working in payroll and HR. So before I even got my actual diploma, I had a full-time job with benefits, pension, salary, pretty much set for life. I don't work there anymore though, and that's another story for another day. But I did get my first car at 18 that June. I bought my own first car. So my mom gave me a truck that was technically my first car, but the first car I bought for myself with my own money, using my credit, blah, 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 was that June. And I literally had that car until like a few months ago when it died on me. Like that was my goal. I'm not a car person. My requirements for a car was A, a backup camera because your girl does not know how to park, and B, the gas tank had to be on the passenger side because I was a faithful BJ's gas girl. So it had to be on the other side. If you know, you know. In addition to that, so that April, I started working full-time for the city. That June, I graduated and bought my first car, and then that December, I got kicked out and bought my first house. So the year of turning 18 was hectic, but essentially I was already saving. I had been working for Wawa for a while. I'd been working part-time in the city for a while. I then was working full-time for a while, and I was just saving every penny that I made, skipped prom, didn't go out. Like I literally worked right by the beach and did not go to the beach a single time. So even though that did suck, those were just my priorities, and I was already working with a realtor. So when I got like the notice that I had to move out in 2 weeks, I literally bought my house, closed on my house, and moved into my house in 1 week and 3 days. Ask me more about that later. After that, I did take a gap year, so I left Wawa and I started working as a manager or an assistant manager at a pizzeria, and that was very dysfunctional. So I then took a job as a delivery driver for Domino's, which I completely loved because every night I got home with cash in my pocket, the tips were amazing, and I was trying to lose weight, and all that walking around, yes, that helped because your girl was slim. Now, after my gap year, I did go to RCSJ, as it's known now, which is just Rowan College of South Jersey, and I used NJ Stars, which is a program that pays for the first 2 years of college, and then I also used tuition reimbursement, which is why I took the gap year, so that the city would pay for my college, and I was able to graduate in 5 semesters with 6 associate's degrees and 3 certificates. Now, for the most part, my associate's degrees are like business, finance, accounting, marketing, entrepreneurship, that like field of degrees. I don't know what the 6th one is. It just said 5. But anyway, I did house hack my first house until I sold it and moved in with my now husband, but at the time he was just my boyfriend. And after a Vegas trip gone bad and the craziest run-in with my great-grandmother's pastor, I decided to give my life to Jesus. Now, I also did a live-in flip with my husband. So the house that I moved into when I sold my house was technically his house. He had already renovated the first floor. When I moved in, we renovated the second floor or the basement and added like bathroom, bedroom, laundry room, stuff like that. And then we eventually sold that house, and the couple that bought that house I am now best friends with, which is just funny, like reading through all of these like facts about myself and just seeing like how even before I decided to give my life to Jesus, how he was just working and pursuing me and just like moving in my midst. It's crazy. Like literally insane. So my husband and I were married in 2021. We actually only were engaged for about 2 months. So kind of along the same lines, I was talking with one of my friends from church, got super convicted about living together before we were married, about having sex before marriage. So I decided, I really wanted to be obedient in my faith. I understood that I was an infant, but I took that super seriously. So I told my husband now that there were 2 options. Either A, he move out, which yes, technically it was his house, but to be fair, his parents lived literally right next door, so it wouldn't have been that big a deal. Or B, we could get married. We had already had my wedding ring and whatnot. It was just that our plan was to wait to get married until like 2024, which is now. Like, that is insane. So we got married in January of 2021, and we decided that we were getting married around like the beginning of December, but he didn't want like a Christmas wedding or New Year's wedding, and then his birthday is like early January, so he didn't want something on his birthday. So we got married on January 22nd of 2021. Now, it was in that year that we did our next live-in flip. So essentially we put our house up for sale and took a leave of absence from the city of Mobile to take care of my grandmother, who had cancer, and unfortunately she did pass, but we had already started flipping her house to move in and help take care of her. So we sold our house and still moved down there. We finished all of the renovations, and now my grandparents live there. But while we were there, we purchased our first non-live-in flip property. So we bought the house, renovated it, rented it out, and refinanced it. Now, in the real estate world, that is known as BRRRing it, but for those of you who don't know, those are just what those like letters in that acronym mean. So we were renovating my grandma's house, but also driving. The house was only like 10 minutes from my grandma's house, so we were also like driving there to renovate that house. Now we have tenants living there. They've been there for almost a year now, and it's been amazing. They are the best tenants, no issues, and they just renewed their lease. So very happy with how everything ended up with that property. And lastly, in 2022, we bought our current house, which hit all of our needs. We wanted something that had more rooms so that we could grow our family. We wanted something that had a garage, and by we, I mean my husband wanted something that had a garage for all of his tools and whatnot. And then there was also a like pond or lake. No, it's not a lake. I don't know the difference between a lake and a pond. It's definitely a pond. I don't know the difference. Pond, we'll call it a pond. So there's like a pond and then a river. And sometimes like when it floods, they're connected, so you can't really tell it's two separate bodies of water. But the river does go out to like the Delaware River. So if you kayak, like people drop in up the road and like will take their boats out. But that was kind of just like an added like, thank you, Jesus. The area that we chose to live in is only like 15-20 minutes to our church, depending on traffic, whereas our old house is like 30 to 45 minutes depending on traffic. So one of the other requirements is just that we be like super close to the church. With all that being said, it is giveaway time. Now, because my page is primarily relationships and faith and whatnot, I decided to give away this romantic recipes cookbook as well as this devotional on the book of Ruth. Now, this was actually created by my church. It is such a beautiful devotional. It does go through the entire book of Ruth, which my great-grandmother had told me was her favorite book in the Bible. So to say I love this story is an understatement, but I definitely love the way that they put together this devotional. Essentially, to enter the giveaway, you guys only have to do 3 things. Number 1, subscribe here on my YouTube channel. Number 2, drop down below and you will find a link to my Instagram at Mia Ashman. Follow me on my Instagram and find the reel for this giveaway and comment tagging one friend. That's it. Subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and tag one friend on the giveaway reel. That is all you have to do to enter into this giveaway. I will be reaching out to you guys via Instagram. This giveaway will run for a week, so I will let you guys know next Wednesday who the winner is. And it doesn't matter where you are, I will be sending you these 2 things. But I do just want to say thank you. I don't want this moment to pass without you know, blessing you guys the way that I have been blessed by this YouTube and just sharing what I'm learning and getting my heart out there. I really appreciate all the love, all of your comments. So if you haven't already, before you go, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and make sure your notifications are on. I do post a minimum of 2 videos a week. But until then, be blessed, and I'll see you guys next time.